The sun had just begun to rise over the small, forgotten neighborhood. Dust danced in the beams of light that entered through torn curtains. Inside a narrow house built of old bricks and hope, an elderly woman, Mary, was folding her son's clothes with slow, loving hands. Her back was slightly bent from years of labor, yet her eyes still held the shine of a woman who believed her son would one day change her destiny. Her house smelled of detergent, prayer oil, and memories, the kind that only mothers keep alive. On one corner of the wall hung a faded picture of a little boy smiling, wearing a school uniform. That little boy was her everything. As the clock ticked, Mary hummed an old hymn. Outside, you could hear the noise of a world that had already forgotten people like her. The world didn't see her pain, her skin, or her silent sacrifices. But she never complained, because her son, Atif, was her pride, her dream, her reason to live. Sudden sound, a door slams open. Mary flinched. The cup of tea in her hand trembled. Then she saw him. Her son, Atif, in his late 20s, wearing yesterday's tired jeans but a smile that could light the sky. His breath was uneven, his hands shaking. He held a small, crumpled piece of paper. Atif, shouting, barely breathing. Mom, you won't believe this. I won. I actually won. Mary blinked, confused, the tea spilling slightly over her hand. Mary softly. What happened, son? Atif. The lottery, Mom. My number, it's here. $50,000. I checked it 5 times. It's real. We're rich, Mom. Rich. For a second, time stood still. The walls that had seen only struggle echoed with his laughter. Mary's eyes filled with tears, her heart racing with mixed emotions, shock, disbelief, and pure joy. She placed her trembling hands on his cheeks. Mary, 50,000. Oh my God. My child, after all these years, you finally got what you deserved. She looked up at the ceiling as if thanking the heavens, the same heavens she prayed to every night, even when she had nothing to eat. She didn't see the money, she saw her prayers answered. But sometimes, blessings test hearts more than hardships ever could. Atif hugged her tightly, spinning her around, laughing like a child again. For a moment, the world looked perfect, no bills, no worries, no humiliation from neighbors who once pitied them. But then, something subtle changed. His laughter faded into a grin, the kind that hides a storm behind it. He looked around their old, cracked walls, the peeling paint, the second-hand furniture, the smell of dampness. Atif, quietly, almost to himself. This place looks smaller now. Mary didn't notice the tone. She smiled, still lost in the miracle. Mary, it doesn't matter how small it looks, son. With your success, this house will feel like a palace. But Atif's eyes were already somewhere else, imagining bigger houses, brighter lights, people who would finally respect him. People who wouldn't whisper behind his back about how his mother looked. In that one moment, joy and pride turned into something darker. The money that was supposed to lift them up would soon tear them apart. Mary went to the kitchen, preparing tea, still humming. She added a bit of sugar, the sweet taste of a new life, she whispered. Meanwhile, Atif stared at the lottery ticket, his golden pass out of poverty, and something cold crept into his thoughts. Sound cue, slow heartbeat, faint echo of laughter from outside. He remembered the words of his coworkers, mocking him, calling his family poor, calling his mother the dark woman. His jaw tightened. His eyes turned distant. Atif, in a low whisper, "No one will ever laugh at me again." The audience feels it, the shift. The beginning of the change. The moment when success starts to poison love. Mary returned with 2 cups of tea, smiling. Mary, here, my son, for your new beginning. Atif forced a smile. Atif. Yes, Mom, a new beginning. She believed that money would heal their struggles. But sometimes, it heals nothing, it only exposes what was already broken inside. A few weeks had passed since the day luck knocked on their door. The lottery money had arrived, crisp, shiny bills that smelled like power. The same house that once echoed with prayers now buzzed with excitement. There was a new sofa, new curtains, even a new phone for Atif. But in that newness, something old had quietly died. Mary still woke up early every morning, made breakfast, and prayed. But now, her son didn't join her. He had new routines, new friends, new dreams, new clothes. Camera shows Atif standing in front of the mirror, adjusting his branded jacket, spraying expensive perfume. He looks at his reflection with pride, but something in his eyes feels hollow. Narrator, low, reflective tone. He used to wear his mother's love like armor. Now he wore designer brands to hide his shame. Mary entered the room, carrying a tray with breakfast. Mary, smiling. Eat something, Beta. You'll get sick leaving the house empty stomach. Atif barely looked at her. Atif. I'm late, Mom. My friends are waiting. I'll eat out. She nodded, trying not to look hurt. As he left, she called after him. Mary. Son, remember, money comes and goes, but people. But the door slammed before she could finish. Then, one of his friends, Ryan, points to his phone screen showing a picture of Atif with Mary. Ryan teasing. Hey bro, this your mom? Man, she's really dark, huh? Laughter erupts at the table. Atif freezes. The laughter feels like knives cutting into his pride. Ryan laughing. No offense, man, but she doesn't look like your mom. She looks like your maid. The laughter continues. Camera focuses on Atif's clenched jaw, his twitching fingers. He forces a smile, trying to laugh it off, but his eyes darken. Atif, softly. Yeah, she kind of raised me alone. She's simple. Inside, his stomach twists. Shame burns his heart, not because of his mother, but because of how the world sees her. Mary, relieved. You're back. I kept your food warm. Atif throws his keys on the table and sits down silently. He doesn't look at her. The warmth in the room feels cold now. Mary. What happened, Beta? You look upset. Atif sighs. Atif. Nothing, Mom. Just tired. But his tone has changed, cold, distant, irritated. Mary quietly serves him food. He eats without a word. When she tries to talk, he interrupts her. Atif, sharply. Mom, please. I just want peace. You don't understand how hard it is to keep up with people. They judge everything. She looks confused. Mary. Judge what, son? He hesitates, his pride fighting with guilt. Atif, murmuring. They judge our life. How we live. How we look. Mary smiles softly, a smile that breaks hearts. Mary. Then let them, my child. The world always judges. But don't lose yourself trying to please it. He doesn't reply. He gets up, leaves the food half-eaten, and goes to his room. Mary watches his back disappear into the darkness, her eyes filling with unshed tears. Mary. Money changes everything, even love, maybe. Atif buying new gadgets, laughing with friends, ignoring his mother's calls. Mary sitting alone at the dinner table. Atif attending parties, taking selfies, pretending to be someone else. Mary looking at old photographs, praying quietly, touching his childhood shoes. She gave him the world when she had nothing. But when he finally got the world, he forgot who gave him the strength to reach it. Ryan. Hey bro. Let's hang out here. This your place. Atif hesitates, his eyes flick to his mother standing behind the door. Mary politely. Come in, sons. I'll make tea. But before she can turn, Atif says quickly. Atif, embarrassed. No, Mom, it's fine. We're just grabbing something and leaving. Ryan smirks. Ryan teasing. Your mom's sweet, bro. So humble. Atif forces a fake laugh, hiding his discomfort. As Mary walks away, he glares at her angry, ashamed, and confused all at once. That night, the house was full of people, laughter, and noise. Yet for the first time in her life, Mary had never felt more alone. The night was darker than usual, not just the sky, but the silence inside the house too. The lights flickered, and the old clock on the wall ticked louder than ever. Mary sat on the edge of her bed, sewing an old shirt of Atif's. Her eyes were tired, but her heart still full of love. Every stitch carried a memory. His first school day, his fever nights, his laughter as a little boy running barefoot through the yard. But tonight, her son hadn't come home. It was past midnight. The food on the table had gone cold. The thunder roared again. Then suddenly, the door opened. Atif walked in, drenched, smelling of alcohol and expensive perfume. His shirt half unbuttoned, his eyes red, his steps unsteady. Mary quickly stood up, rushing to him. Mary worried. "Where were you, Beta? I've been waiting all night. You'll get sick in this rain." She grabbed a towel to dry his hair, but he pushed her hand away roughly. Atif, irritated. "Stop it, Mom. I'm fine." His voice was louder than usual. Harsh. Sharp. Mary froze for a second, confused. Mary softly. "I just worry my son. That's all. You didn't even answer my calls." Atif, cutting her off. "Mom, please. Can you stop treating me like a kid? I'm not that poor boy anymore." Her face fell. She stared at him, the same boy she had raised, now standing before her like a stranger. The storm outside grew louder, matching the storm inside the house. Mary spoke quietly, her voice trembling. "Mary, I never cared if we were poor or rich, son. I only cared that we stayed close." Atif laughed bitterly. "Atif. Close? Mom, we can't live like this anymore. My friends come here and see, this old house, this mess, this..." He hesitated. The word he wanted to say burned in his throat. Mary, confused. "This what, Atif?" He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, his eyes weren't loving, they were full of shame. Atif, coldly. "You. They see you, Mom. Your clothes, your skin. They laugh at me behind my back. They say I'm pretending to be rich while my mother looks like she works for me." The words hit her like a knife to the heart. The room went still. Even the rain outside seemed to stop for a moment. Mary stepped back slowly, her eyes glistening with tears. Mary, whispering, "Is that what you think too, my son?" Atif couldn't meet her eyes. He looked away, guilt flickering for a brief second, but pride drowned it. Atif, quiet but firm. I need space, Mom. Maybe it's better if you live somewhere else for a while. I'll send you money. I'll make sure you're comfortable." Her voice broke. "Mary, somewhere else? But this is our home. The same home where you took your first step, where your father died in my arms. You want me to leave our home? Atif, I just need time. Please, don't make it hard." Tears rolled down her face. She held his hand tightly. "Mary, son, money doesn't buy peace. Don't let pride steal your heart." But he pulled his hand away. Atif, coldly. "I've made up my mind, Mom. I'll arrange a place for you by tomorrow." Mary's lips trembled. She looked around the house, every wall, every corner filled with memories of her son growing up. The laughter, the prayers, the sacrifices. And now it all felt empty. She walked to her small cupboard, opened it, and took out an old scarf, the same scarf she wore when Atif was a child. She wrapped it around her shoulders, wiped her tears, and whispered softly, "Mary, if this is what makes you happy, my son, then I will go." Atif stood still, not daring to look at her. His heart screamed, but his pride stayed silent. Mary walked to the door slowly. She turned around one last time, her eyes full of love, forgiveness, and pain. Mary softly. "Remember, Atif, wealth can build houses, but it can never rebuild a heart once it's broken." She opened the door. The cold rain splashed against her face, soaking her clothes instantly. She didn't flinch. She walked into the darkness, disappearing into the storm, the sound of her footsteps fading away. He tries to convince himself it's for the best. But deep down, something inside him cracks. That night, he became rich in the eyes of the world, but poorer than ever in the eyes of heaven. Months had passed since that stormy night when Mary walked out of her home, her heart heavy, her feet soaked, and her prayers left behind for the son who had forgotten her. The house was quieter now. The same walls that once echoed with her voice now echoed with silence. The smell of her cooking, the sound of her morning prayers, all gone. Only Atif remained. Alone. Surrounded by things money could buy, but haunted by everything it couldn't. Atif sat on the couch, his head buried in his hands. The glow that once filled his eyes had faded. He looked around, empty bottles, dark corners, dust on the new furniture. The world that once applauded him for his luck had moved on. His money ran out, and so did the people who once called him brother. Flashback montage, quick cuts of laughter, parties, and fake friends fading away one by one. Ryan borrowing money and never returning. Friends ignoring his calls. A lone officer banging at his door. One by one, they vanished. Just like his smile. Atif tried to laugh it off, but laughter doesn't fill loneliness. He tried to sleep, but guilt doesn't let you rest. He keeps hearing his mother's voice, her gentle words echoing in the silence. Wealth can build houses, but it can never rebuild a heart once it's broken. He sits up, sweating. The voice fades, but her absence doesn't. Morning. Sunlight hits the empty chair where Mary once sat. Atif walks past it, but stops. His eyes catch the old scarf she left behind. He picks it up slowly. The faint smell of her perfume still lingers. He presses it to his face and breaks down completely. Atif, sobbing. Mom, where are you? I'm sorry. Tears fall freely. The strong man who once threw his mother out now looked like a child again, lost, guilty, and empty. Cut to Atif walking on the street, hair unkempt, eyes hollow. He passes by people who once praised him, now pretending not to notice. He goes to the cafe where his friends used to sit, but the seat is taken. He goes to the bank, account nearly empty. His world had collapsed, not all at once, but piece by piece. He thought he lost money. But in truth, he had lost the only fortune that mattered, his mother's prayers. That evening, Atif stood outside his house, watching the sunset, the same way his mother used to. He realized how quiet the world becomes when no one is waiting for you at home. He picked up his phone, searching his contacts. Mom still saved, but disconnected. The number no longer worked. He whispered, Atif, I'll find you, Mom. I promise. I'll find you. Cut to montage of Atif searching everywhere, old neighborhood, hospitals, charity shelters, temples, churches. Every old woman he sees reminds him of her. He asks strangers, shows her picture, prays for a clue. Sometimes life waits for us to fall, before it teaches us what truly matters. Finally, one night, he stops near a small street tea stall. The aroma of tea, the faint hum of a woman singing softly. He freezes. That voice. That song. The same lullaby she used to sing to him when he was 5. He turns around slowly. And there she is, Mary, sitting behind a small stall, pouring tea for customers, her hair covered with the same old scarf. Her hands were rough, her eyes tired, but her smile, the same, warm, unshaken. Atif's eyes fill with tears instantly. He runs toward her, calling out, Atif, crying. Mom, Mom. Mary looks up, confused at first, then recognizes him. For a second, time freezes. The cup she was holding shakes, a tear slips down her cheek, but she smiles. Mary softly. You found me, my son. He falls to his knees before her, holding her hands tightly, crying like a child. Atif, sobbing. I'm sorry, Mom. I was blind. I chose pride over love. I threw you out because of your skin, because of my shame. And look what I became, nothing. Mary wipes his tears gently with her rough, tired hands. Mary, soft but firm. Shoo, my son. Life teaches in strange ways. I forgave you the day you closed that door. Because I knew, one day, you'd open it again, with tears instead of pride. She smiles, her eyes glistening with forgiveness. Atif lays his head in her lap, sobbing silently. Narrator, deep emotional tone. He lost everything, friends, fame, money, but in that one moment, he found the only treasure that mattered. His mother's heart. Camera pulls away slowly, the two sitting together as the city lights fade into the night. Rain begins to fall again, but this time, it feels cleansing, not cold. Mary, whispering, Come home, my son. The door was never locked. The rain had stopped. The sky, once dark and heavy, now blushed with light. Morning had returned, not just to the city, but to Atif's heart. He and his mother walked down the same street where she once walked alone in the storm months ago. This time, their steps matched slow, steady, side by side. Atif held an umbrella over her, making sure not a single drop touched her head. Mary smiled softly. The same hands that once guided him to school now trembled slightly, but her heart, it was steady, strong, forgiving. Some people spend a lifetime searching for heaven. But some realize heaven was the warmth of a mother's lap, all along. They reached the small house, the one that had once been full of laughter, tears, and memories. The door creaked open. Dust floated in the sunlight. Mary looked around, the same walls, the same window, her old chair still by the corner. She touched the wooden frame gently. Mary softly, "It's not the house that changes, my son. It's the hearts that forget its meaning." Atif stood behind her, guilt still weighing on his face. "Atif, I don't deserve to be here, Mom." Mary turned around slowly, took his hand, and said, "Mary, no child ever becomes undeserving of a mother's love. Only lost. And lost things can always be found." The silence between them wasn't awkward anymore. It was peaceful. Healing. Atif looked at his mother, her skin darker than his, but her soul glowing brighter than the morning sun. He smiled through his tears. "Atif, people said color defines beauty, but now I see. Beauty was sitting right in front of me all my life." Mary chuckled softly, shaking her head. "Mary, remember, son? God paints every skin with purpose. Some shades hide pain, others carry grace. But all are made from the same light." The camera zooms out, a framed photo of Atif as a boy sitting beside a small candle. Atif gets up and takes a folded paper from his pocket, the same lottery check that once tore them apart. He looks at it for a long time, then tears it in half. The pieces fall to the floor. Atif, firmly, "No money can buy what I lost, Mom. But maybe I can rebuild what I broke." Mary's eyes shine with tears. She places her hand on his cheek and whispers, "Mary, then you have already won, my son." Soft music swells, hope, forgiveness, rebirth. A few months later, a new signboard hangs outside their house. Mary's hands, home for the forgotten. Inside, we see old women, widows, and abandoned mothers being cared for, given food, love, and dignity. Atif walks among them, serving tea with a gentle smile. Mary sits in the corner, teaching one of them how to pray. Narrator, reflective voice. They turned their pain into purpose. Their home, once silent, now echoed with laughter again. Because sometimes, love isn't about blood or skin. It's about who stays when the world turns away. Camera follows Atif as he looks outside, children playing, the sun setting golden across the city. He closes his eyes, peace finally in his heart. He whispers softly, "Atif, thank you, Mom, for teaching me that light doesn't see color." Final shot, Mary smiles, the sunlight bathing her face. The screen fades to black. Narrator, closing line, slow, emotional tone. She was the color the world forgot. But the light she carried changed a heart forever. He threw his mother out for her dark skin. But fate brought him to his knees, broken art, emotional story.